Doing it live? Fuck it. We'll do it live right now, baby. It's Patio Slay podcast time. 137 episodes in. We can't get enough. And who said was it Memphis Bleak? Still here, never left? Off Change the Game? You goddamn right. We're still here, baby. We got a fun one. It's Anthony. We got Tony. We got Nate. What's up, guys?
What up? Yeah, we're here hanging.
Oh, NPR Nate's back.
NPR. I tried to fire you up with the Memphis Bleak line.
Hey guys, what up? This is NPR Nate. The smooth, dulcet tones of NPR Nate are back for you once again. Episode 137.
137. The clone.
Clone radio, baby.
Clone radio, yeah. Hell yeah, dude. I'm excited. This was a great conversation. And man, we've been having a lot of fun finding different people in the industry, and Tuck O'Leary is all over the industry in a bunch of different capacities, right?
Yeah, he is, right? Bassist for FFAK, which I think mostly everyone knows him from that. But he also fronts Off Road Minivan, which they're awesome. Go check them out. So FFAK is on Solid State, and they're an imprint of Tooth and Nail, or the other way around. But Off Road Minivan is on the opposite label. And that last album was great. They got a new one coming out. So he's got that going on. What else is he? His Get Tucked podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Fellow podcaster. As we always say, some of our best conversations are with fellow podcasters. Go back and listen. And what else has he got going on? Featured X?
Yeah, Featured X. We only touch upon it for like a brief second. We don't actually dive into the fact that he helped found Featured X. And Featured X is sort of a cameo for finding features. For if you want to grab someone's, say a guy like AJ Perdomo of The Dangerous Summer, he's on there. He has a fee, and here it is. I can help you, write a verse or be part of your song. It's right up our alley, like the type of shit that we nerd out about. And I actually think we did talk about it at one point earlier on in the podcast. It was way back when. I can't remember when, but it is something that has come up across our desk in the past. The fact that we actually had one of the founders on, pretty wild, pretty cool concept too, right, Nate?
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, music's one thing, but to kind of have feelers in different parts of the industry, it takes balls to do that, first of all. But secondly, like to have the know-how to go about and execute on it. So, good on him.
And I think he was he one of our funniest interviews?
I mean, he started the interview off with a one-liner that we both we just burst out laughing. So yeah, he was enjoyable. He had a good sense of humor. Really, really fun conversation with Tuck, and we say it in the interview. We always come up with a cool deep cut icebreaker, and with this one, it just kind of the conversation lent itself to a different icebreaker, which was awesome.
He's one of us, man. He if we grew up with him in our region, we would be buds.
Hell yeah. Yep.
And I think we hit it off pretty good. So are we gonna jump right into it, or?
Let's jump into it. Yeah, here is Tuck O'Leary, the bassist for FFAK, frontman for Off Road Minivan, and many other hats in the music industry. He's managing some bands. Yeah, Tuck O'Leary right now coming at you. Hey guys, Tony here. If you like FFAK, you like this conversation we had with Tuck, we have many, many conversations back there that will wet your whistle as far as heavy music goes. So we had Jesse Leach of Killswitch Engage. We did a whole series around Tattoo the Earth where we had Lejean from Seven Dust, Eric Green from Sepultura, Chris Beatty of Hatebreed at the festival this past summer. And man, we are all over the map when it comes to that stuff. So if you like this conversation, there's plenty more back there. And I mean, hey, there's stuff for everybody. We had Peanut from 311. We had Benny Horowitz of the Gaslight Anthem. We've got all kinds of different nerdery back there. So thanks for listening to us. If you like what you hear, go check out another interview. Thanks.
We are here with the one, the only, the man, the myth, Tuck O'Leary from FFAK. How you doing?
Oh, I'm good. Hi, everyone. How are you? Flat Earth out there. I'm good, man. It's been a nice morning. Just went to the old Planet Fitness, got my pump on, and nice. I have a very fun afternoon ahead of me today, actually. So
a lot of pressers, a lot of this.
No, actually, I'm going to. So recently, my podcast, Get Tucked, got sponsored by AGS Grading, which is a card grading company.
No,
and I'm a nerd.
We know it.
And
we know it.
Yeah, AGS is the first AI grading company, so it's not just some old fat turd looking at your card going, well, I think I think this looks like an 8 today. So I got a stack of my first 10 cards. I'm going to sub to them today.
Nice.
And I'm very excited.
What are you subbing? I got to ask.
Oh, man. All right. So I got, we'll do it in pairs. I got 2 base set Zards.
Nice.
And then I've got an old Jeter rookie. I've actually got a second one of these that I'm going to do this next time as well. Dark Magician Girl from Yu-Gi-Oh! If you're a true nerd. Blue Eyes White Dragon first edition. So that's a banger. It's going to be sick. Kobe, Hank Aaron auto.
Ooh.
Nice.
Peyton Manning auto.
Damn.
And this is my pride and joy. Tom Brady, Bowman Chrome rookie card.
I was going to say, that's a Chrome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of those kicking around right now either.
There are not. And because he was a dud drafter, you know, he wasn't a star. He wasn't supposed to be. So during the whole pandemic thing, you know, everyone's a buzz about cards again. So I went to my parents' house and got all my shit because my grandfather was an antiquer, so I have a plethora of shit. And first like 10 minutes digging through my stuff. I was a pretty good collector myself as a kid, so I find a box that literally it looked like I opened the entire box, put the cards in the stack, put it back in the box, put the box away.
Nice. So it's a mint.
Yeah, it's been touched 3 times by hand probably. When I opened it, and then when I found it, and one other time when I looked at it. But that's about it. So I'm excited. Should be a fun afternoon.
It's a good time for the Hank Aaron card because all the home run truthers, you know, he's back in the news with the Judge stuff.
Well, you know, when you look at Hank's body composition to Aaron Judge's body composition, they're a little different.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You could say. But, you know, that was a really cool card because I pulled it on a Christmas morning with my grandfather. And it wasn't even like the auto was in it. It was a submit card where it was like, hey, you just actually pull and won this card. You have to sign this, give your address, submit it back to them, and they'll send you the card. And I didn't even notice it at first. And my cousin's looking through the cards, and he's like, dude, you hit the jackpot.
Yeah, right.
And I've been hanging on to it. I've had it in a screw case my entire childhood. So should be cool. I'm excited. But
that's awesome.
Thanks.
When we do this, we try to put together like an icebreaker or whatever. We did not see cards and grading and Hank Aaron autos being what we had, but this is amazing because we did the same thing during the pandemic.
Oh, nice. That's awesome, man. Yeah, my buddy Gunner, he works for AGS, and they're over on Staten Island, so about 40 minutes from me. So they're actually letting me bring in my cards, hand them in, and then I'm going to go pick them up at the end of the week.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
So I am feeling very, very lucky today because the reason why I don't have them graded is I don't want some of those fuckers in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
They mean more to me than the risk of putting it in the mail.
The insurance money. Yeah. They'd get
back. Yeah. Scary stuff.
We're off the rails now at the beginning, but I went to the game where Bledsoe got hurt and Brady came in 2001.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We were 8 rows off the field on the opposite side. And I still have this stub. So does my dad. So does my uncle. So does my cousin. I'm like, I want to send this in to get graded because how many of these there's only 60,000 of them kicking around. And I have one in pretty good condition, but I'm afraid to send it in. Same thing.
Yeah. Well, let me know. I got a guy who's got a guy.
Right.
Fucking get it taken care of. Yeah. Where are you guys based out of?
Maine.
Oh, okay. You're up north there.
Southern
Nice.
Maine. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. You guys got the tasty weed up there. That real herbal outdoor grown shit. I like it.
There's some of that for sure.
So, confirmed. So, Tuck, that was way better than the icebreaker we had planned. What we had planned is, we've seen some great Twitter names in our day, but Ryan Gosling could be the GOAT.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I've tried and strived to have entertaining dumbass handles throughout my social media time, and I'm quite proud of that one as well.
It's a good one, yeah.
Thank you.
So we don't want to talk the new album. We just want to talk about the impetus for that name.
That's all we have. We have an hour of questions.
Yeah, I manage this band called L'Exquisite Allure from Florida, and they're like the most my chem, like alkaline trio mall goth band to the max.
Nice.
And I don't know, it just hit. I was like,
it's perfect.
I was thinking about a lot of goth shit and mall goth stuff and like, you know, bad cigarettes you stole from your parents. And, you know, I was like, Ryan Gosling. Because my name is Ryan, you know, for all those that are listening. Everyone calls me Tuck because my bandmate is also Ryan. Our tour manager is Brian. And every tour you go on, there's like 3 to 5 Ryans. Because during this like chunk of time where I was born, for some reason, everyone decided it was a good idea.
A lot of Ryans, yep.
A lot of Ryans. I like my name. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It just gets like annoying. So the whole time I've been in the band, which this last week, we had our 8-year anniversary of Slave to Nothing. So I've been in the band for like 8.5 years now. But yeah.
I can relate. My name isn't actually Tony. My first name is very common as well, Michael. So a lot of Michaels. Yeah, a lot of Michaels. Yeah.
Tony's a strong name. I like Tony. I you know, as a New Yorker, I've met a lot of really good Tonys. Some sucks.
Some bad ones. Yeah.
You know, definitely. But, you know, that's okay. I'm sure that they would say the same about me.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right. So, new album coming out on October 28th. So, at the end of this week now, because this is dropping on the 24th, The Hell We Create, Solid State Records. Then you've got 4 of the songs are already out. They're bangers. We're really digging And the Other Side right now. I listened to that a couple times last night in prep for this. And man, excited. You must be excited to get these all out to the world.
Very much. Yeah, I think it's an album that you want to listen to it as a whole, which I'm very proud of. I don't think that there's any duds on it. And I think when you listen to it in sequence, you will enjoy it that much more, which I think like as a music listener is something that I always want out of an album, or at least helps me to like stick with something. Like songs are cool. I like singles, but I want to have an album be my favorite album. You know what I mean? So I think for me, it was a hard thing where I wasn't sure if we would get there, but for me, this is my favorite Fit album.
Nice.
I really love listening to it. I think Ryan poured his heart out on it in a way that is like new and refreshing for our band, because he's a like pretty like quiet, very sincere man, and he's gone through a lot of shit on top of the whole pandemic crap that everyone went through a lot of other shit that just changed the landscape of his world. And the whole goal of this record was like, we're going to lift him up and we're going to milk him and we're going to fucking get the darkest, hardest shit out of him. And he crushed it. You know, he really, really did. So it's cool. I think that there's a new side of the band that people will get out of this album. I'm glad you like End, though. I love that song, too. I think it's a really, really well-rounded Fit song.
It's a banger.
You know, it's kind of got everything you want out of it. You know?
So, yeah, I agree. That is, of the ones that have been released, that's my favorite. It's interesting you say it's a full album, because the release schedule has been the way you guys did is very common, right? 4 out of 10, almost half.
I would have already released it. If I could turn back time, I wouldn't have not put out Times Like These as a single, and the record would already be out. Would have come out with Falling Through the Sky. We talked about it a little bit. I think that's, now waiting sucks.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things that still we're all figuring out how to have our rollouts be less antiquated and, not like do it the old dinosaur way, but still be able to like have a good rollout and get pre-orders and like generate sales and, make some money off the fucking thing. So it's a delicate balance. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, yeah, that you're exactly what we're thinking. Like today with the internet and with everybody being able to get stuff, at any moment's notice, are you trying to keep content going leading up to the album release? Is that why? So that's why just about half the record is out?
Yeah. And, I think either The Path or Dark Skies, we released Dark Skies, we released 5 singles. And the hard part is you release singles to try to generate more hype, more streams building up into the release of the album because it looks better and helps you in the past, I think, to claim your status a little better. Mm-hmm. But the times have changed a little bit. And
true,
there's stuff where the best example right now is Bad Omens. Their singles they garnered attention. But the album, that shit is fucking flawless. And it's proven because now they're selling out 2,500 cap clubs pre-sale, entire tour pre-sale.
Wow.
So it's, I think as much as people love singles, there is still a really awesome mystique that comes with like perfect albums. I would say
Totally.
that's like one of the strongest, best albums, probably the best scene alternative album since Sempiternal.
It's interesting. Like, I'm going back and forth in my head because the old school model, when we used to buy CDs when we were growing up in the 90s, if you didn't like the single, you're like, well, fuck that album. I'm not buying it. Yep. Now you guys are almost like given a few appetizers and you're like, well, this restaurant seems cool. I'm in,
Yeah, you have to kind of give a well-balanced display of, like, for instance, the reason why we did Reaper first is because what was the number one complaint of The Path? It wasn't heavy enough. So we gave you, not enough breakdowns. So we gave you guys some breakdown. And then, End is, I think, a really great, well-balanced Fit for a King song. Kind of like if you like When Everything or if you like The Price of Agony, it's like kind of right in between there, right? And then Falling Through the Sky is just my favorite. I love that song. I think it's fucking awesome. And for everyone that's like, they're, doing sellout rock songs, so totally not the fucking case. And there's a really beautiful story that goes to that song. And like, for one, the guy is talking about how he's at the maximum stress level of his life because his wife just almost died and he adopted 2 kids that are preteens. So, during the pandemic. So that's just the backstory for this entire record. His wife had a stroke. She had an aneurysm, has like multiple blood clots in her brain. And her brother's kids had been in the foster care system and been to 17 homes, needed to be adopted. So they adopted, at the time, his daughter was 14 and the son was like 8. She just turned 16. And when you go from not being a parent at all, and I'm not, so speaking of which, I'm not a parent at all. But when you go from not being a parent to having a teenager, not the easiest task in the world, So he had all of that on top of, is my business going to die? Will people give a shit about my band when we come back? Will I be able to make money? What's going to happen? And all of that was poured into this album because it was one of those things where it was clear to all of us, like, yeah, we're all having a hard time. My man's got the biggest plate for sure. Like, no doubt. So, when you're listening to a song like Falling Through the Sky, I have this great memory where I'm sitting out on the porch and Kirby comes outside and he's just like, dude, I wrote this chorus. Like, can I sing it for you? And he doesn't really do stuff like that a lot, And he comes out and he sings it to me and he shows me the lyrics. And I was just like, yeah, dude, that's it. Like, that's the fucking song. And that's the chorus of Falling Through the Sky, And I don't know, it's a special one. I think that one deserves to get that like extra love for that reason, But the whole album has that connectability to it, in my opinion.
I love stories like that where like there wasn't like, band meetings or a producer like trying to mold a big chorus. It just fucking hit him. The message was there. So you're like, that's it.
Yeah, man. And it is rare because we do like, work with, a producer like that where we are like, we've had those times where we are just aiming for that shit. But then you get those moments that are just really pure. And that was one of them. It's awesome. So, maybe that's why I like it as much as I have that like memory attached to it. But I think it's a hell of a track. Yeah. And then times like these, or times like this, has Jonathan Vigil, which is so sick.
He's
the man.
Yeah.
His voice is insane. And couldn't be more stoked to have a guy like that on a song of ours.
Yeah, we love diving into the creative process. And like with you guys are in such an interesting spot. I mean, you probably know this. 800,000 monthly Spotify listeners, which is fucking insane. Like you acknowledge that, right?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
And we're always trying for more, and it definitely gets to be a bit daunting, but it is very awesome. Like it's one of those things that you have to stop for a moment and live in satisfaction versus always wanting to be like, well, it's not a million.
Right.
Which is such an odd, I'm not like it. Yes, thank you. We love it. We're stoked. We're just always also at the same time like, well, what do I have to do this or to do that? But that's any business, right? That's the business side versus the like artist side.
Well, there's a part where they cross, and that's kind of the gist of this question, which is like, how do you guys navigate that? So there's the element of like staying true to yourself. You have this massive 1 million person fan base. You certainly, I would imagine, want to push your creative boundaries, but then there's the element of, all right, we need to position ourselves for the future. So there's somewhere those match up, and I'm curious how you guys navigate it, or you're just like, fuck it.
No, we're actually already starting to write, where like Ryan sent me voice memos of like 4 different chorus ideas today, and they're awesome. And I wrote a song last week and sent it to him and Bobby. And we have really talked about this a lot, and we talk about it consistently about like what we want out of our band and how we're going to get there. And Ryan did a pretty interesting survey on Twitter the other day asking fans if they like, the Price of Agony, Breaking the Mirror style songs, When Everything, Death Grip style songs, or like Backbreaker, Vendetta, super heavy style stuff. And the When Everything and Backbreaker stuff came in even at like, I don't know, when I saw like 28% or something like that each. And then the Price of Agony stuff was only like 8%. And it's one of those things that we've been like toying with a bit, where we love like kill switch, big metalcore kind of stuff. But sometimes our strength, I think, lies more in the more like sadder, dramatic shit. Like that kind of stuff can write all day. But the big like anthemic stuff just doesn't really come to me as much. And that just being for me personally, it's an interesting thing, man. We've had a lot of talks recently about like what we want to do with this next release that we're like kind of starting to pull ideas for. And like, I think we have a pretty clear idea and vision. It's just, it's hard. Like with every release, I think you learn like, okay, like I went a little bit this way and I got this out of it, but maybe what if I went a little bit this way, would I get this out of it? And, we're really happy with all the way that the last few albums have come out. Because like, for instance, like The Path may not be like everyone's favorite record of ours here in the States, but in Europe, actually, they fucking love it. So, it's little things like that too, that we're getting used to, where at first we didn't notice that. And then we were like, oh, sick. Like, seems like this actually did kind of work in the way that we wanted it to work. So, yeah.
Well, you mentioned The Path, and obviously that came out, kind of during the height of the pandemic. This is a little different. You're getting to, be out and play songs for people. That has to feel nice, getting out there, playing songs live versus putting a record out and not really being able to tour on it, right?
Oh, yeah, it's the best. Like, we're on the best tour ever with I Prevail and Pierce the Veil. And on the last half was a band called Yours Truly, who I love very much. And then on the next half will be a band called Stand Atlantic. And I might still call them Yours Truly because they're just another Australian pop punk band. So, like, fuck those guys. No, I'm just kidding. I'm very excited to meet them in a couple days. And, yeah, getting to play these songs for people that pretty much like, the I Prevail, Pierce the Veil crowd, I would say that we fit sonically with I Prevail really well. And the Pierce the Veil fans are very much there for like Pierce the Veil, and they're very excited about it, which is a good thing. Because when your favorite band returns, who wouldn't be?
Right.
So us getting to play for this crowd that basically nobody knows who we are, right? Like there's some fans, but maybe 9 out of 10 don't know or give a fuck about your band, but they're awesome. They're nice. They're like the I Prevail crowd. They're great, fucking nice people who like music, who heard of this band on the radio. They want to buy a couple beers and a t-shirt and have a great time. And the Pierce the Veil fans are just so ecstatic that their favorite band is playing right after us that you could whisper, like, we literally some nights just go, Pierce the Veil. And the crowd just goes, ah! Like, it's the coolest shit ever. So getting to test your new songs in front of a crowd like that, pretty cool. You know, we've been having a blast. And, way better than, like, experiencing actual depression for the first time and like wanting to like not be on this flat cookie earth. Yeah, it's cool. I am much happier now. Plus, like, the path was aimed for something completely different. We wrote that record while we were super happy. Mm-hmm. And we were about to go on tour. We're like, writing this record, we're going on tour with Parkway Drive. Fuck yeah, fire, arenas, big shit, hell yeah.
Right. And
then none of it. So, like, what were you going to hang on to that until, like, after the pandemic? No, you just fucking put it out. Because what are you going to do? You ain't going to get better anytime soon. So
that's a backdrop that I think, in 10 years, you look back at your catalog, you guys will remember, all right, this came out in the height of the pandemic. We couldn't tour on it. Maybe that's why folks didn't connect with it. In the moment, I don't think fans really think about that. You know what I mean? Like, this maybe wasn't intended to be to a downer crowd. It's just the way it happened.
And I should preface all this with, I think in recent times when we're doing interviews, we've made it seem like people didn't enjoy the path. And it seems like people did enjoy the path. We are perfectionists. We want it to be like, no, this album was clearly better than Dark Skies. That just didn't happen, So, like, I think on this one, I think that this record is actually better than Dark Skies. So, nice. But yeah, releasing music sucks, but it's great. It's just an ego thing, man. You do it for you. You do it because you think your shit is awesome. You wouldn't do it if you didn't. And people that pretend like they're like, well, fuck you. Yeah, right. Your shit is awesome. And that's why you want to put it out in the earth,
So let me ask you, do you listen to your own band?
Fuck yeah, I did today.
I'm glad you said that, because we've had interviews where the person's lying.
I legitimately listened to my band while getting lip pump this morning.
Yes.
Because I want to like it too. I want to think it's effective and that it does the job and, gets me excited and makes me feel things. But I also, like, for instance, my other project, Off Road Minivan, go listen to the album Swan Dive out on Tooth and Nail Records. I really like listening to myself. I'm like a little bit of an egomaniac like that. Like, I think I sound sick. Like, my new record for that project that I just finished, it's just like getting mixed right now. It'll be out around like April or so.
Nice.
It's so good. It's so good. And I love it. Like, I can listen to it forever and it breaks my heart and makes it whole again. It's fucking awesome. But like I said, I really like me. So I'm a bad judge. I think there's a weird thing with artists, and it's something that I think I've been trying to like own up to more really since doing the podcast, where people just like, I get the like Kurt Cobain aesthetic of like, life is misery. I don't really like myself. I am this purest, amazing artist, and I just like bleed perfection. Get it. But I don't really I don't want to pretend like I don't really like myself. There are aspects of myself that I want to be better. But if I didn't like my own art, I don't think I could champion it the way that I do. Mm-hmm. So it would be lying. And I don't want to lie, because then I'm not being sincere. And I should be putting out only art that is sincere, because I think that that's the stuff that wins. Like, you listen to like a Dayseeker or fucking Bad Omens, and those bands were the same bands like a couple years ago, if you guys didn't know. The difference is they wrote the best fucking albums and they poured their hearts into them. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't deny how fucking real that shit is. So when people wonder, well, why isn't my stuff taking? Why isn't my band doing better? I think that's kind of the thing. So I'm trying to like champion myself more. I think more people should do it. Negativity is fucking dumb. Don't be a lame. Like, enjoy yourself, love yourself, and if you can't, try to. You know,
Definitely.
Weird little side message for the episode today.
Well, and it's a good message, because I'd be lying to you if I didn't think that, told you that I didn't think we were good. I think we're really good, and on a smaller scale, like I want to put ourselves out there and let everybody hear it. I want to, shout from the mountaintops. That's
Absolutely,
why we do it.
man.
You're doing it because you think you're good at it, and you have, you get conversations like this one. You know what I mean? Like, this is why we want to continue to do this every week, even if it's to a smaller scale, getting out in front of people and talking to them and championing yourself and being happy with who you are. Why the hell not?
And, I think it's lucky when I do agree with you, you guys are great interviewers, and it's definitely like being able to create an energy that makes people want to actually like give themselves to the conversation. Right. And it's a hard thing, because I love to watch interviews as well. And sometimes you watch them and you're just like, man, bro, you're so awkward. But it's an interesting thing that I think confidence is kind of being lost sometimes, because we got into such a comfort of like trying to take care of each other and knowing that everyone is hurt, where like, I think it's time that we try to like, my wife hates the saying, but just buck up, soldier. You gotta fucking get on sometimes, you know what I mean? And I'm fucking over it, man. I got, everybody got those friends that they just bathe in negativity. And I hate that shit. I think you're lame, and I'm over it. But like I was gonna say, artists are lucky where I get to put that shit into a song, listen to it, and be like, yep, that's exactly how I felt. Man, I feel better now. And a lot of people don't have that. They don't have that release. So it's not realistic to necessarily compare yourself to the average person when they are looking for an outlet. But their outlet might be running. It might be reading. It might be something completely different.
Well, it could be going to the gym, getting a pump on, and listening to Fit for a King too. So
facts. Yes, as it should be. The only way.
I think it's really refreshing, because on one camp you have the crowd that's, too cool for their own music. Well, it's like, well, if you don't care, then I don't care. Then there's on the other end, there's the delusional crowd, which thinks their shit's great. And you're not on either one of those. Like, you're a smart dude that has an ear for music, and
thanks.
You're a perfect balance, because there's the delusion. I'll throw a name, Corey Feldman, like his shit.
Yeah. No, there is. And you know what that chalks up to? And this is a conversation I had like an ongoing conversation with my drummer about what it is to get it, and that should be a book that somebody needs to write, where there is a delusion, and you watch people that, you would define as insane because they do the same thing over and over and over again. And they even think they're getting like results, but you're like, oh no. You are just the spinning wheel. Like, you're the gerbil, bro. Like, it's not working. But the hardest thing with that kind of shit is to you got to leave it alone. You're not going to make it better. You're not going to change it. You're not going to help them to understand. They don't get it. So just let them be, because not everybody is going to be Nirvana. You're going to get Corey Feldman's. You're going to, it's just... That's more average. He just has enough money where everyone got to see him on awesome morning shows and be like, wow, this is the fucking best train wreck ever.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you had Corey Feldman on your bingo card, drink.
Yeah, another one that we did not have, prepped. So that's the best part about doing these is we have a script, we have an idea where we want to go, but then you never know where it's going to take you, man.
I want to hang out with him. I want to talk to that dude. Totally. I could have a great time with Corey Feldman. That'd be so sick. His music is fucking awesome. He's a true Molgoth, man. He's got that shit down. That whole angel thing, the angel dancers and stuff. He's cool. I'm a fan, But,
yeah.
So dialing it back to this tour, I Prevail, Pierce the Veil. huge cap rooms. I mean, I looked up some of them. Like the Boston date is in the new MGM Fenway. It's like 5,000 cap, and it's
large.
It's huge. And it's like, I was thinking, and I'm not ready to put my foot in the ground and stake in the ground, but like this could be one of the best times for, we'll call it loud music. You can call it metalcore and adjacent.
Oh, dude.
There's no ceiling.
100%.
You got Parkway,
Yeah.
you got Bring Me, you got Architects. There was a time when like Ozfest was the ceiling. And now it's like, well, stadiums are the ceiling now.
I think one thing people are starting to really realize, but maybe didn't at first, was I Prevail is a huge fucking band. Like,
Massive.
when I was younger, you know, like this is maybe like 7 years ago, when I first like year or two, I was touring with Fit. I lived in upstate New York, and Merch Now would be nice enough to let me pack orders while in the warehouse while I was home from tour and shit. Give me a job because they're great, super nice people. The amount of I Prevail first EPs that I packaged, they were literally selling like 50,000 a week.
Insanity.
People don't, yeah, like that band. And when you watch them live, you're like, wow, you have this many hits. That's crazy. And they're a monster sized band. Like, you know, they're like in a day to remember sized band. You know, they're a fucking big band. So it's great. It's super cool. Like you said, the ceiling is huge. Radio rock is never going to come back the way it was. This is the new radio rock. This is what people listen to now. Screaming is normal. That's it.
That's the name of this episode. Screaming is normal.
Yeah,
Screaming is normal.
It's good. It's a good call.
Eyow!
So you mentioned, you know, you're going on before you guys go out there, you whisper, I Prevail, pierce the veil. People get excited. What's the biggest thing for you as a band for Fit for a King that you're trying to accomplish with these shows? Are you trying to meet people? Are you trying to crush your set? What are you doing?
The set, yeah. So number one goal was you can't out sing I Prevail and pierce the veil. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So we need to warm up the crowd for them. And luckily, when you have a lighter band that plays before you, we're kind of set up ready to just like go psycho. So we bring the lowest IQ energy in the room. we go full Neanderthal during our set, like trying to bring the story of the year, like Seosin's, like fun guitar throwing, jump kicking, like let's be everywhere all the time energy, and just wake them up. Like, we are here to show you the heaviest, craziest shit you've probably never seen in your life. And I would say to the average viewer, we are the craziest, heaviest thing they've ever seen. You know, I like go bar crawling during the set. I climb shit. I give my guitar tech the guitar. He throws it 30 feet in the air. We do really dumb shit. And it's awesome. It's my favorite thing in the entire universe, other than my wife.
So your practice space has to be a gymnasium, is what you're saying?
No, I don't do it then. It's just a live thing. Like now it's like programmed into my body. So I don't actually practice any antics other than doing yoga. My yoga is my prep. Like, cause definitely part of the set is like kind of choreographed where like I have songs that I've done similar moves and stuff in, but I try to just every day it's kind of like a blackout. Like you look out and you see, you know, how everything's laid out, and you can look at it just as like stage, crowd, that's it, I stay here. Or you can be like, oh wow, there's this really cool railing that's kind of right near the stage, and if I walk along that, I can jump up onto these tables, and then I could jump onto the bar, and I could get over back near my sound guy, and then I could crowd surf all the way back from the soundboard to the stage, and I could be back by the time the breakdown and backbreaker happens.
Yes.
And you start to kind of like, the more you do it, you start to picture it like that, and then you get to have a little more fun. But that helps when your songs are pretty easy. Like a lot of I do it during the songs where it's mostly like open notes and like basic fretting stuff, like nothing crazy. So that way I can actually like play and run around like an idiot.
It's awesome that you can kind of see the roadmap on stage of where you're going to do things and where you need to be for certain parts of songs. And I had never thought of it that way from a performing. I mean, because I've never been up there. You have to do that, right?
Yeah, and you know, for me, when I think about metalcore, primarily, I never really thought about like, you know, as a bassist, I didn't have a lot of bassists where I was like, man, I want to play like those guys because they're the most rip-roaringest bass masters. I wanted to be like Wolf from the Chariot because he is a fucking animal.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, Justin from Seosin or Adam the Skull from Story of the Year. Like some of these guys, Hunter from AFI, even though Hunter's a fucking smoke show of a bass player too. But these guys that put on shows, they had 6 spin kicks. They did cool shit. Like, I wanted to do that. I didn't want to just like sit there and, you know, but then you get guys that are the perfect combo, like Sky from 21 Pilots and Issues. Best combo of like actual sickest bassist and has moves for days. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's a good time to be a bass player.
Growing up, I wanted to be like the Glassjaw dudes that hike the bass up way up here because that's the only way I could play.
Best bass tone ever, though. Best bass tone ever.
Yeah.
Oh, like, man.
You feel like you're doing the Paul Rudd, but it's the only way I could, like my hands worked was way up here.
Yeah, but it's very okay for that band because also the guitar player is doing it and everyone's just going like this the whole set.
Yeah.
But I love, like, I'm, you know, as a New Yorker, I ride for Glassjaw. That's my shit. It's a very common note for an off-road mix where I'll be like, all right, so this is that part. We're going to turn up that Glassjaw bass tone. We're going to get that grit in there.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. But Justin, the guitar player in that band, is also just genius. Fucking brilliant. Best band. One of the best bands. Top 5. Top 5 screamo bands ever.
Agreed. They're a top 10 all-time band for me. Love them.
So good. So good.
Yeah, I bet they would fall in my top 10 as well if I really made a hard list. Yeah, it's tough. That era of shit is my bread and butter. Mm-hmm. Which, if you like that kind of shit, you should go listen to this band I manage because I'm telling you, it's like right up the alley. But you can't pronounce it. Neither can I. We're changing the name because of it.
It's funny because when you go to Google something, if you can't say it, it's hard to promote, right? I mean, you got to have that in mind nowadays too.
Oh yeah, it's impossible. And it was funny because even on this Yours Truly, one of the people in Yours Truly, they're like, yo, that's awesome. Like, I have heard of that band. They're so good. I tried to find it after and I couldn't because I can't spell it. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, you and everybody else.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It happens.
So let's hit on you, at least on the surface, being, I would think, a busy fucking dude. Like, you got Fit for a King, you got Get Talked, you got Off Road Minivan, and then you're still involved with Featured X?
I am, yeah. Yeah, after we sold the business, I worked on like a consultation deal where I still like take care of all the artists and check in on it every day and as much as I can. And you know, right now we are in the process of rebuilding a few things in the back end and it's going to take some time, but then we're going to be able to really hit it hard again. But it's my baby. But yeah, I do some shit. I got some stuff going on.
And you're an avid card collector, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, Magic is my anti-job. So it's, Magic the Gathering is my anti-job. I needed something that wasn't music related because, you know, the podcast brings me tremendous joy, but still like music stuff. And I still something to like keep up with, but at least I can like release it whenever I want. And no one can tell me to do or say anything, which is sick. But, you know, managing bands is turning into more of a job because, you know, the Gloom in the Corner, we signed to Sharp Tone Records and their new album Trinity is actually coming out on October 28th, the same day as our record.
Nice.
On Sharp Tone Records. And that band is from Australia. So it's like as soon as I wake up, I've got stuff from them. And then about the time when it's like ready to go to bed, they're back up. And then we have to talk like before then. And releasing an album is, you know, a lot of work on top of releasing my own album. And then Lex, they are getting signed as well. There will be a lot of news on that band in the coming months, and I can't wait for everyone to just fall in love with them because they're phenomenal. But yeah, I got shit to do, but it's fun. I like it. You know, I want it that way. I want to be very busy because it's all stuff I like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, just looking at your probably day to day, especially if you've got bands in Australia, completely different time zones, and I know we struggle with a 3-hour time zone difference with our podcast, so having to deal with a whole day,
man, it's annoying, but you get used to it, like, because they're good kids, they work hard, they know what they have to do, so like it's one of those things you can tell them like, hey, this is kind of what we got to get done today, and then when I wake back up, like they did it, and I don't have to double check on them because they're not fucking babies. And that's the reality of this thing, is like, if you want it, you got to work for it. If you don't, just don't bother, because the people that are winning, they work so hard. Mm-hmm. They work so crazy hard. And this isn't like some handout shit like it was in the past, where it's, I'm going to get signed and then a bunch of people are going to take care of me and my band's going to do really good. You know what? That's how you ended up fucking broken alone, motherfucker. Mm-hmm. So pay attention and work hard. You know, but that's why I love Bloom and Lex. They're both so hardworking, and we have one of the hardest working singers in the entire fucking music scene. Ryan Kirby is an animal. He's insatiably good at working. Like, he is just a straight edge, on it, fucking laser pointed. It's crazy. So
there's no substitution for that either, right? There's none. You have to, if you don't do the work.
Well, and when you see those people who just are capable of doing so much, and they're so good at what they do, that the impact that they have on not only their projects but other people's projects is just the coolest. It's the coolest shit. And if that doesn't get you excited and make you want to grind harder, like, again, take a step back. It's okay, you know. But I am very blessed to be able to do only things that I like, because I think about that often, where I have had moments in my life I was not the happiest dude and didn't get to do that. And so I try not to be too spoiled, but I am pretty fucking spoiled.
Again, it's another thing that's refreshing, because I think the conventional thought is like, once you get signed, you know, then you're good. But no, like, once you get signed, that's when it starts.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it gets so much harder. You have someone who helps pay for shit, which is cool. You get to do more shit. But you really start to feel the competition, and that it's not just, well, we're just going to fucking see how it goes. You know, the ones that do that, they don't stick. But, you know, because most bands, you know, most labels in general, they're going to sign you to a deal that keeps them relatively safe. You know, spend some money on your records, music videos and stuff. But, you know, if they lost $25,000 on you, it's really not like that big of a deal, because out of the 10 bands that they did that and threw against the wall, you know, that one that stuck was Motionless in White. There's something, you know, like some monster size band, like a Knock Loose, you know, like the initial spend on that band was probably pretty minimal.
True. Yep.
The yield from that band.
Yeah. Right. Jeez.
Like, I'm just using them as an idea. We're going to spitball real quick. That band, 15 grand on laugh tracks, probably, maybe 20 max. Do a couple music videos for a hardcore band while they're like, all the music videos are people moshing and shit.
Counting worms, yeah. A short one.
I don't know. Say we spend another 15 grand. Say we spent 30 grand on Knock Loose to start it. Jake at Pure Noise, awesome person, gives great deals. So it's probably pretty friendly. But band's fucking huge.
Mm-hmm.
Massive.
Like, you can't even, when you know, you wouldn't expect that shit. So for every one of those you get, a story so far, state champs, you know, lets you fuck around, lets you try some shit. But it's very interesting.
You cast that wide net. You have to a little bit if you're on that side.
Gotta
of it, I would
do
imagine.
it. Gotta do it, you know? And it's really cool to see, man. I love it. Like, because I think that the greatest art prevails. I will always like live and die by that, where I think that people get really caught up in trends. I've done it myself. But when you write that thing that is just the truth, I think that's when your band does the best. You know, I think that's why you see moments like a Bad Omens doing what they're doing right now. Self-produced, self-written, 2,500 cap clubs.
Insane.
That's a lot of fucking people. That is a
it
lot
is.
of fucking people, you know? So it's cool to see stuff like that. I'm very happy for what is happening with music right now because it's becoming the norm. It's like you said before, you know.
Yeah, it's a good time to be in heavy music.
Yeah.
Tuck, you mentioned bands that you can't pronounce, you can't spell. Well, there's also bands that are tough to Google. And one of those is your very own Off Road Minivan. So if you put that into Google with no like band at the end, the Google images are next fucking level. And like I
It's
assume
amazing.
you've done that.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. And yeah, it's because there's no website, there's nothing. I have been the worst, laziest like promoter of that band. And it's funny because I haven't probably posted about it in over a year, but more people are listening to it now, which is cool. I don't know if maybe I just talked about it enough or something, but yeah, the giant minivans with the like raised up shit and the huge wheels and stuff. It's legit, bro. I love it. I'm a big fan.
They're badass.
Oh, absolutely. I'm gonna make one of these days.
You gotta put
once
one
I
on a
get
cover.
out of the city.
That's your tour bus. That's your van.
Yeah, that works too.
I wish, dude. I would love that. Yeah. No, the Off Road Minivan is a flipped minivan with dead family in it.
Oh no.
Yeah. I like the cute idea. Sounds really dumb, but it's actually so it's me and my wife, we were driving on the interstate one day in terrible traffic, and this minivan just like rips through the median and goes up the other side. She's like, "Oh shit, an off-road minivan." I was like, "That's my Jimmy Eat World." And it's one of those things I've definitely contemplated changing it a million times, which is probably why I'll always keep it. And I know that it sounds so dumb, but it's one of those things where it's not all that it seems, where like especially pretty much that entire first record is true stories. And it's kind of based off of, if you listen to the song Taconic and watch this special on Amazon, it's called There's Something Wrong with Anti-Ann. And there was a lady who they just can't explain what exactly happened. She like left a camp this one morning in our area and like with her family and everything, loaded up all the kids in her minivan. Everyone said that she was totally fine, totally normal. Goes the wrong way on the Taconic and causes this massive accident, kills everybody. And it's like unexplainable because her family is like, no, I was just with her. Like she was fine. Like I don't get what happened, but like detox, blood reports, stuff like that would speak otherwise and shit. And it's a weird, really weird thing. And I like took a piece of that with my songwriting, where I think that a lot of these things, are very cookie cutter and, they come off as presentable, but the truth behind them is fucking horrific, man. And I'm just so over safety. I want to hear something that's like, yeah, it sounds cutesy, but I went the wrong way on the Taconic, and I just wish I could turn around. Like it sounds cutesy, but it's a fucking tragedy, So that is what I kind of like strive to do with that project, where it's forever an art project. Like I'm not trying to like make anybody like it for any specific reason. If you don't, that's fine. When I listen to it, I am very, very proud of it.
Nice.
And
that's awesome.
Yeah, I get to just write about whatever I want. It's fun, no rules.
And Tuck, you can sing. You can sing.
Thanks.
There you go.
Dude, living my life out here, man.
Nice.
I'm trying. It's hard.
And
there's
he's humble,
a lot
guys. And he's humble.
Dude, there's some mega talent these days. People just keep getting better and better, and it's hard because I'm probably getting older and getting worse. But I think, the one thing that I'm trying to do now, and I think that the new off-road record really does it, is I worked on it for 2.5 years religiously. Like,
Right on.
eat, sleep, drink, like, even while doing like fit stuff and whatever, like, I listen to my demos a lot. And that, goes back to like what you guys said about like having to listen to yourself. If you can't listen to yourself, you can't really craft your art, because you're just getting stuck on like, it's not about, do I like me? How do I make this better?
Right.
And there were some songs on the record that were really difficult, but I think when they listened to this thing, like, down to like, I worked on this thing down to like recording my friends and family when they don't even fucking know I am, because I need voice clips of them to fit in between the perfect moments to like make the feeling of exactly what I'm trying to say perfect. And like, I think it worked. Like, I think if nobody likes my band after this record comes out, I do not fucking care anymore. Like, I'm like, I will, it's something I'm very, very proud of. Like,
Nice.
But that's the perk of no one giving a shit. You don't have to like, like Fit for a King, making an album for that band is so much harder, because we have, like, if we don't do it, we're going to be fucking poor. Like,
Right.
That's the reality of Fit for a King. Like, that's the reality of most bands. You write a bad album, you might lose everything. How fucked up is that? That every 18 months you have to like either be like, well, if you don't get this promotion,
Yeah,
you're
Right.
fucked. And that's why it's so hard.
And people have short attention spans. People's attention spans are oftentimes only go back to the last album.
Yeah. But it's fun. I mean, but thanks for asking about Minivan. I appreciate it. It's something that like, I think when I look, like, for instance, look back at Swan Dive, and there's a lot of people always say shit like this, but I think now when I listen to that record, I can be like, yeah, it's all right. Like, it's pretty good. I think there's some good tracks on it. I think this record absolutely demolishes that record. I think that it just, down to the artwork, everything about it is perfect. And I think that that's what I had to learn how to like strive for. And it was tough, man. Like, even me and my guitar player, we almost broke up the band over the shit. I was such an asshole. Just like, no, you're not gonna get right. But eventually we did, so yeah, it's been fun.
That's awesome. And you said April?
Yeah, about April. We're finishing the mix now, working on the album artwork and all that kind of stuff, and trying to pick like a due date for the Babe. And I think April-ish it will be out. Yeah.
And more coming up really soon here. We've got the new Fit for a King, so the 28th of October.
Yeah.
The hell we create, man. I'm excited for it. Like you said, there's enough out there where I think there's something for every era fan of you guys, all 800,000 people.
A month.
Yeah, right. Dude, it's weird, man. We're, like I said, we're very blessed to like be in this position. And I think that we wrote this album from the perspective of like, really, how do we make all of our fans happy and make new fans? And I hope that you guys hear it. I really do. And if you don't, go fuck yourself.
Yes.
So, it's a really exciting time for us. And thanks for having me on the show and asking what you did, because it is a special one. I don't want this to just get like lost in the ether of the 100,000 songs that will come out the day that it's released. Like, I want people to fucking really enjoy it. So.
Yep. So go check that out when it comes out the end of this week. Tuck, thanks for joining us today, man. We really appreciate talking with you.
Of course. It was an honor and a pleasure. Thank you guys for having me.
It's been fun. Thank you.
All right. Later, guys.
Thank you for listening to Podio Slave. We are at Podio Slave on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the places that you can find us on social media. Facebook, Podio Slave Podcast. YouTube, Podio Slave Podcast there. Email us at podioslavepodcast@gmail.com. And hey, if you want to become a supporter, click on the link at the bottom of the episode and give us $1, give us $5. It keeps the lights on, keeps us going. We really appreciate that stuff. Thank you.